Faith, family, country. Now, saying you believe in them or posting anonymously online when you're fired up about an issue, that's one thing. But Charlie Kirk took it to the next level. He was an avid Bible-believing Christian who enjoyed chatting up atheists.
Look, if an atheist wants to fight alongside of us to end abortion or to try and end the massacring of our kids, that's called gender-affirming care, or if an atheist wants to march alongside of us to say no men and female sports, they're more than welcome to be able to do that. But Atheists for Liberty is an interesting phrase because I don't believe you can have liberty without God, because liberty is not man's idea, it is God's idea. That's just my own personal belief, and it's also...
Charlie did not just talk, though. He acted because he had the guts, he had the drive, he had the focus to go out there day after day, night after night, and fight for what he believed in. Now, the threats on his personal safety were well known. He knew them, but he wouldn't stop because he believed that being with people in public, especially on college campuses, talking with conservatives, debating liberals, it made conservatism fun and exciting again. And he died today, taken by an assassin's bullet, doing what God put him on this earth to do. I said it with Brett earlier, and he and I were both crying in our offices and embracing. A lot of people around here are. The word came to me, irreplaceable. He was irreplaceable. And I believe he was murdered, and you heard the governor talk about this at the press conference earlier. He was murdered because he was so effective at what he did. He was a modern-day evangelist. And while so many adults, they can roll their eyes at Gen X or Y or Z, Charlie saw the promise in young people today. His enthusiasm for the future, I found it personally infectious. And I believe that no one other than Donald Trump himself in recent memory has had a more profound effect on the political thinking of young Americans than Charlie did. Now, a few months ago, my son, my 15-year-old son, Nico, was watching something on the computer when we were on a flight. He was supposed to be reading, of course. So I was annoyed at him. I looked over. Then I saw it was a Charlie Kirk video. So, of course, I took a photo of it, and I sent it to Charlie, and he and I got a big kick out of it. And then when my daughter, Maria, heard Charlie was coming to Texas A&M last spring, she was over the moon. So Charlie brought her and her buddies backstage, and he recorded this video to send it to me.
I found someone here at Texas A&M.
Hi, Mom.
And she's doing very well. She's not making any trouble, and I approve of all of her friends. So things are going great. See you soon.
Those girls who were laughing with Charlie and so many other students across the country, like millions across the globe, are devastated tonight. But Charlie would have loved to know that they're all going to Mass, they're going to church, they're praying in their dorm rooms and their common areas. They're praying for the repose of his soul and for his family now in mourning. The beautiful family. Our hearts break for them tonight above all else. Now, while so many across the political divide, and I can be prone to pessimism too, could be pessimists, Charlie decided, no, I prefer optimism.
Jesus is honestly the most important thing. We are seeing Gen Z go back to church in record numbers. We are seeing a Christian revival that should give everyone in this audience hope. It's the greatest news happening in America right now.
He loved talking about where things were going, and he saw it because he was there. He felt it. He engaged with it. There's simply no one else like him. I can't believe I'm saying it was past tense. I mean, how can this be? He was on air with us just 48 hours ago, and he and I were just texting yesterday about his conference in December that I was going to and chatting about that, laughing about a couple things. We're always joking with each other. But I remember the first time I met him. I think he was 19. He might have been 18, but he was at least 19. And I kept hearing about this teenager who decided to skip college and start an organization for young conservatives. At the time, I kind of rolled my eyes like, oh, okay, what is it? But my late friend, Foster Fries, met Charlie on a stairway at CPAC back in, I think it was 2011 or 12, when Charlie was still a teenager. And he heard that this kid had this dream of wanting to change the way young people thought about politics. And Charlie told Foster about this. Foster himself was such an optimist, but he was so taken by Charlie Kirk and the enthusiasm and the drive that this young kid had, no college. He knew he was something different. He was something special. So Foster and Lynn Freeze and a few others wrote the first or second check to Turning Point, and the effort, the organization, the force that it became was born. So we all watched him grow from a teenager into a man, to a husband and a father, and a political force like we had never seen before.
Fox News alert, Charlie Kirk assassinated. The president breaking the news. The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you. Charlie was loved by all of us. He had a beautiful family, married the love of his life, Erica, just 4 years ago. 2 children, son and a daughter. And he touched generations of Americans. But he was taken from us. You've probably seen the video. Charlie was holding a Turning Point USA event at Utah Valley University. He was on his Prove Me Wrong tour, where he takes questions from students and engages in friendly debate.
Do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
It's 5. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
A second later, he was shot in the neck in the middle of the quad, sitting underneath a banner that said, "The American Comeback." We know 1 round was fired, and reportedly from 200 yards away, just 50 yards more than Butler, from a nearby campus building. 1 man was taken into custody, but police later determined he was not the gunman. But we do have good news. The actual person of interest has been apprehended. That's according to FBI Director Kash Patel. They're being interrogated, and the governor of Utah says the killer will pay the ultimate price.
I want to make it crystal clear right now to whoever did this, we will find you. We will try you. And we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law. And I just want to remind people that we still have the death penalty here in the state of Utah.
And we're actually just hearing now that they have released the suspect who they thought was the killer. Police say they'd used surveillance video from the campus that showed the suspect wearing all black running away from the scene. Before Charlie was shot, students actually noticed a guy walking on the roof. And the FBI tells Primetime they're aware of this tape that shows someone crawling across the roof before Charlie was shot.
Can run it up.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying. He just ran from over, where's my finger? Well, from over there, ran in, and now he's right there. Just saying.
After the round was fired, another camera captured another person running across the roof in the distance. Charlie immediately lost a lot of blood after the bullet hit his neck and was rushed to the hospital and then was pronounced dead. Immediately afterwards, Matthew Dowd on MSNBC said it was probably a fan who didn't know how to handle his gun.
We don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea.
Oh, and then it got worse. MSNBC said Charlie deserved to die.
He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech. You can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
MSNBC has already apologized, but Dowd should be fired immediately because it's traitors like that who make it easier to get murdered. Charlie wasn't president. He wasn't even a politician. He was a young political star defending American freedoms, especially the freedom of speech. And if guys like Charlie are targets for assassination, we all are. Charlie Kirk's just like you and me. We speak our minds, we speak from the heart, We tell the truth because we believe in the country and everything that it was founded on. Charlie had the spirit of our founders, full of energy, passion, conviction, and an unrelenting pursuit of happiness. Charlie was always happy. You never saw the guy down. He loved what he did, and he never stopped working and fighting and pushing and persuading. Charlie Kirk grew up in the Chicago suburbs. Great athlete, good family. Dropped out of college to join the Tea Party and start a movement. He set up systems to watch professors and stop their indoctrination. Then he built up chapters across the country on campuses and launched Turning Point USA, creating the largest and best organized political mission for young Americans ever. His events were like concerts, the biggest stars on the right twice a year. We all had a blast. He left it all out in the field for Trump in 2024 and turned out the vote on the ground in the swing states. He had one of the highest rated podcasts in the country and was in constant contact with the president, J.D. Vance, helping push policy, execute an agenda, and communicate ideas. And he was able to raise millions and millions of dollars because people believed in Charlie. He was charming and earnest and never took a day off and was trusted by everybody who knew him. No one ever said a bad word about Charlie Kirk. Every time he did a hit on my show, he'd text me afterwards saying, "Thanks, Chess, for having me on. Really appreciate it." My 13-year-old daughter loves him. Grandparents love him. Charlie wasn't offensive at all. He wasn't trying to be provocative. He was a gentleman. He just asked questions, enjoyed debates, just like America's greatest leaders always have.
He intentionally tried to provoke substance out of you, and you said, well, I'm worried about some laws Congress should pass. I have to ask, what laws are you talking about? Because what's happening at the Democrat Party is this very sinister combination. It's a party of censorship, it's a party of war, a party of open borders that is against actual traditional liberal values. Everyone in the audience is the first generation in American history to have it be worse off than your parents.
I'm not policing your language. I'm just saying I would say black
Fair
people.
enough, but the insinuation is that I'm being racist, but that's fine. I agree. So then why are we so fixated on the language of Trump and not on the actions of our current leaders?
They killed Charlie for asking questions. What kind of message does that send? Don't ask questions. It's too dangerous. Charlie spoke the truth. He said what he felt, and they killed him for it. The message is shut your mouth. If you can be murdered for speaking your mind in America, then America's done. We might as well live in the dark ages. And this isn't the first time this has happened. This is just the worst time. They shot Trump. They went to Kavanaugh's house with a rifle. They're firebombing Elon's cars, rioting in L.A. Trans shooters are killing our kids. They just plugged 2 Jews outside the embassy in our capital. Hell, Rand Paul got his ribs broken by his neighbor. ICE agents have to wear masks because their families are getting death threats. It's officially over now. After today, we're not taking it anymore. They're telling us we're at war.
We're in a war right now to save this country, and so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
This is a war we didn't ask for, and this is a war they can't win. The way to win is to do what Charlie did. Speak your mind louder. Tell the truth more. Put so much pressure on all of these people that they never try anything like this again. This is a turning point. Everything that we've witnessed recently is unacceptable. Everyone's going to be held accountable in the media, in Congress, on campus, everywhere. So follow your heart. Fight for what you believe in. And don't be ashamed of putting America first. We know what's right, and we know what needs to be done. Challenge them harder. Ask more questions. And like Charlie, chin high and do it with a smile.
As we try to make sense of what is a senseless act of violence, we are filled with sadness, outrage, anger, rightly so, righteous indignation. You know, at what point do we finally say in this country, enough is enough? And let me be very clear here. This needs to stop. What we saw today was a political assassination. We're not going to show the video. Most of you probably have seen it online. It is horrific to watch. as Utah Governor Spencer Cox said in no uncertain terms during an emotional press conference this evening. Take a look.
This is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation. And I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination. Charlie Kirk was first and foremost a husband and a dad to 2 young children. He was also very much politically involved, and that's why he was here on campus. Charlie believed in the power of free speech and debate to shape ideas and to persuade people. Historically, our university campuses in this nation and here in the state of Utah have been the place where truth and ideas are formulated and debated. And that's what he does. He comes on college campuses and he debates. That is foundational to the formation of our country, to our most basic constitutional rights. And when someone takes the life of a person because of their ideas or their ideals, then that very constitutional foundation is threatened. But I want to make it crystal clear right now, to whoever did this, we will find you. We will try you. And we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law. And I just want to remind people that we still have the death penalty here in the state of Utah.
Now, we don't yet know about the circumstances surrounding today's assassination of Charlie Kirk. This does have all the earmarks of a political assassination. All Charlie wanted to do, and he did so bravely, he did it passionately, he did it with vigor, he did it with intelligence, was offer for many on college campuses validation for their political beliefs, young people around the country. He often went into very hostile environments on liberal college campuses. He went there to have a dialogue. He'd always answer any and all questions. He challenged the institutionalized liberal indoctrination of many of these campuses. We have discussed this throughout the years. I thought college campuses were supposed to be bastions of freedom of speech, you know, the safe space, to use a liberal term, for free and open discussions of ideas, ideals, and opinions. And for that, some on the left hated Charlie. Why? They protested Charlie. Why? Now someone assassinated Charlie Kirk. Why? Again, we don't know what the motivation or all the motivation behind this shooting, but common sense will tell you that the odds are very, very high. This is political in nature. We will learn more in the coming days and weeks ahead. But I would argue that tonight is really not the night to show, which I can do. I can do hours and hours of a special on this show. All the rage, all the madness, all the insanity, the never-ending vitriol of the left in this country, from the halls of Congress to the legacy media mob, especially directed towards President Trump, who Charlie Kirk loved and admired and worked hard for. At this point, we're probably all numb to it. We shouldn't be. Maybe I will do an entire hour of rage and hatred. You know, I think an awful lot about blowing up the White House or holding up severed heads of Donald Trump. You know, the hatred, horrific things that have been said about him and the things that people want to do to them. Then you got your keyboard warriors in their underwear or naked in their basement, anonymous, posting the most vile, vicious, hateful things. Even just minutes after we learned that he was shot, we didn't know that he was assassinated at that point. And when the left, you know, if you recall during the president in his joint speech before Congress, remember the left wouldn't stand for Lake and Riley's family when the president acknowledged them, and they wouldn't stand for Jocelyn Nungary's family, that little 12-year-old girl brutally murdered and raped. When they wouldn't stand for this young man who had just beaten cancer and became a Secret Service agent that night. I said on this program, the left in America, they have lost their heart, their conscience, and their soul. Where are the leaders on the left that will challenge this madness, that will speak out against it? And I'll add that anyone that claims to be a conservative or MAGA or pro-Donald Trump that uses that type of extreme, violent rhetoric, the same goes for you. There are some idiots that claim to be conservative. They are not. But the left has given us 10 non-stop years of rage and hatred and vile language. And it's undeniable that it is poisoning the minds of many people in our country, and it needs to end. If we believe in civil society, understand it's hanging in the balance here. And sadly, yet predictably, some on the left and their allies in the media mob, they wasted no time after the shooting, pushing their disgusting, vile commentary, some implying, oh, Charlie was at fault for his own assassination. Others, of course, invoking Donald Trump. To everyone on the left spewing this never-ending rage, hatred, vitriol, we show it to you all the time, night after night. You know, shame on all of you. Every single one of you needs a good, long, hard look in a mirror. Start examining your conscience and your soul, because what you are doing to the country is poisoning it in ways we haven't seen since the 1960s. We can all have political disagreements. We can be passionate about our disagreements, but not the way it's been going. Take a look at, for example, MSDNC tried to frame today's assassination.
Charlie Kirk is a divisive figure, polarizing, lightning rod, whatever term you want to use.
We don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about this. He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. You can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt.
And that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
After one of the Doge employees was allegedly attacked in Washington, D.C., that's what Donald Trump used as justification to send in federal troops into Washington, D.C. to get things under control. The carjacking situation, he used that. And I know it's hard to predict the future, Mark, but you can imagine the administration using this as a justification for something.
I know we were just talking about the federal takeover in Washington. That began after a member of the Doge team was allegedly assaulted in Washington. So it's going to be interesting to see what conservative leaders want to do there after this episode.
Yeah.
I have no words. Even worse than that. Take a look at what Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said, blaming Donald Trump. Take a look.
Political violence, unfortunately, has been ratcheting up in this country. We saw the shootings, the killings in Minnesota. We've seen other political violence occur in other states. And I would just say it's got to stop. And I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. We've seen the January 6th rioters who clearly, have tripped a new era of political violence. And the president, what did he do? He pardoned them. I mean, what kind of signal does that send to people who want to perpetrate political violence? Not a good one.
Of course, he ignored the 574 riots in the summer of 2020. Governor Pritzker, what is wrong with you? This rhetoric, blind hatred for people that you disagree with, you need to look in the mirror. House Democrats also showing today their true colors, having a complete meltdown after Lauren Boebert requested a prayer for Charlie Kirk following a moment of silence. Look at this chaos.
This is a gentlelady from Colorado rise.
Shh. Why would anyone be against a moment of prayer? Moments ago, President Trump just released a video on Truth Social reacting to the death of Charlie Kirk. Take a look.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory, may God watch over his family, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.